Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever really thought about the journey your food takes to get to your plate? Well, it's a story that's got way more high-tech secrets than you'd probably guess. So, let's pull back the curtain and take a look at the amazing technology that's completely changing the world of agribusiness.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. Sounds like the start of a bad joke, right? But the answer actually tells us everything about a revolution in how we grow our food. So stick with me, because you're about to see that the connection is not only real, it's incredibly important.
All right, first things first. Before we can get to all the cool gadgets and the mind-blowing genetics, we need to wrap our heads around the massive system they all work in. And that's agribusiness. Yeah, this is not your great-grandfather's farm anymore. This is a complex global industry.
And the engine driving this whole industry? Technology. At its heart, technology is really just about creating tools to solve problems. And when the problem is feeding billions of people on this planet, well, you're going to need some pretty powerful tools.
So you can basically break agribusiness down into three big pieces. First, you've got the input sector. That's all the stuff you need to get started, like seeds and machines. Then there's the production sector. That's the actual farming. And finally, you have processing and distribution, which is all about getting that food from the farm to you. And that is the exact journey we're going to take today.
Let's start right at the beginning, because long before any food ever gets harvested, a whole lot of technology has already been hard at work, really setting the stage for a successful crop.
It really does all start with a tiny seed. But we're not talking about just any old seed. Nope, these are genetically engineered marvels. Think potatoes designed to fight off diseases, or rice that's been engineered to produce its own vitamin A. This means farmers can get way bigger harvests with fewer pesticides, even in some really tough climate.
Just think about that for a second. That one sentence says it all, right? It just captures the incredible power of this technology. We're now seeing things like saltwater-tolerant crops that let farmers grow food in coastal areas that we thought were totally unusable. It literally changes the map of what's possible.
Okay, so let's get back to the farm. Once a farmer has chosen their high-tech seeds, the real physical work begins. And it all starts with two absolutely crucial steps: getting the soil ready and then getting those seeds into the ground.
And this is where the heavy metal comes in. You've got tractors pulling these massive plows to turn over the soil, and then cultivators come in to break it all down into the perfect bed for the seeds. But this isn't just digging around in the dirt. This is precision engineering on a huge scale, preparing acres and acres of land in a tiny fraction of the time it used to take.
Now, once the land is prepped, a totally different crew takes over. These machines aren't just dropping seeds all over the place. Modern planters and seed drills actually use GPS and high-tech sensors to place every single seed at the perfect depth and spacing. This makes sure that not one single inch of that field goes to waste.
So, the seeds are in the ground, but the work, it's far from over. Now, technology really steps up to protect and nurture those growing crops, basically turning the entire field into a highly managed, automated ecosystem.
You know what they say? Water is life. And that's especially true for crops. Modern irrigation systems, everything from huge sprinklers to these super precise drip lines that deliver water right to the roots of the plant, mean way less waste. Some can even mix nutrients right into the water, so they're basically feeding and watering the plants at the exact same time. And just like any other big investment, a field of crops needs protection. You have specialized sprayers that guard against pests, weeders that take out the competition, and fertilizer spreaders that deliver targeted nutrition right where it's needed most. It's this constant, high-tech effort to make sure the crop reaches its full potential. And then, finally, the moment of truth. The crops are mature. But harvesting is just the start of a frantic, high-stakes race against the clock to get that food to you, the consumer, while it's still fresh.
Yeah, forget that old picture of hundreds of people working in a field. Today, a single combine harvester, which is an absolute marvel of engineering, can do the work of an entire army. Modern tech means a very, very small number of people can harvest enormous amounts of food in record time.
But here's the thing. The second a tomato or a head of lettuce is picked, the clock starts ticking. Spoilage is the #1 enemy, and every single hour that's lost is money and food literally thrown in the trash. The race is on.
This is where something called the cold chain becomes the hero of our story. Refrigerated trucks are basically giant mobile coolers on wheels, and they slow down that clock on spoilage. This technology is the reason you can buy fresh strawberries in the dead of winter. It's what allows farmers to sell their produce to markets hundreds or even thousands of miles away. So, we've seen this incredible system of efficiency and productivity. But Just like with any big revolution, there's a balance sheet. We have to look at both sides of the coin, the benefits and the real costs of this high-tech harvest.
The upsides, they are clear and they are powerful. This technology means we can grow more food using less land and less water. It helps drive down costs, and at the end of the day, it puts more food on the table for a growing global population. I mean, these are the promises that have fueled this whole agricultural revolution.
But is it a perfect system? Does this technology boom lift everybody up equally? Well, the answer, as you can probably guess, is pretty complicated.
The scales right here really tell the story. On one side, you've got this incredible productivity, but on the other, some really steep challenges. The high cost of all this equipment can lock smaller farms out completely, and just mastering the digital skills you need to operate this new tech, that's a huge hurdle all by itself.
Which leaves us with this really critical question. This technological revolution is making our food system more productive and efficient than it has ever been in human history. But as we race into that future, we have to ask ourselves, who might get left behind in the dust? Thanks for joining me on this journey through the high-tech world of agribusiness.